Harley Davidson motorcycles. Some are part of the cult. Some people don't like them at all. Some people buy used bikes, some people buy new bikes. Some people say dealerships are awful. Yep, we've talked about it before, but we're going to talk about the bad and the good about dealerships. So last week I did a video on how can you talk about something that you don't have any experience with. Like the person that says I hate Harleys, but they've never had a Harley and they can't tell you anything about Harley. I can't tell you about other motorcycle dealerships, so I'm going to try not to do that. And those that aren't Harley riders and that have dealerships, whether it's Honda or Kawasaki or wherever they get their bikes, you can kind of clue us all in the comment section. But I'm only going to talk for Harley Davidson dealerships. And I have talked about this in the past, and I'm seeing more and more changes, at least in Harley, in dealerships. But the love and the hate still continues for sure about them. So I guess we got to start off by, everybody knows there's tons of videos out there. I've done one. I'll link it at the end of this video on, are there going to be dealerships anymore down the road? And or dealerships are going to look a lot different. Actually, they look a lot different now. They're selling four-wheelers and side-by-sides. I call those grocery getters. And Harleys, and usually Harleys aren't the biggest part of their sales anymore. So that's a whole different conversation in video. But I got to say that there are some advantages in my mind. So we're always going to start with the positive about dealerships. One is, let's first start with, there's plenty of bad ones out there. So let's talk about maybe some of the good ones. Whether you think there's none out there, there's a few out there, or all of them are that way. I don't know how you feel about it, but I happen to have a dealership that I absolutely love. And when I think about what are some of the reasons that I like the dealership, I think that there's a friendliness and a enjoyment for me when I go to the dealership. And no, they're not all trying to sell me new bikes. That's either being nice. They know I have a new bike, right? It's just, maybe it's camaraderie or something, but you usually don't see people all ticked off when they're in a dealership. I mean, it is just kind of a cool place to stop by every now and then, right? They're all over the place, by the way. If you ride a Harley and you've ever been on the road, on a road trip, and you've been broken down or something wrong with your bike, and I'm sure it's not perfect for all of them, but I will tell you that you can stop by a dealership and they're gonna put you in front of the line. As a matter of fact, I had some work done on my bike once that was taking so long. They come out and said to me and said, "Hey, look, this guy broke down. We want to get him in." And I'm like, absolutely, right? So I think there is that. I also think it's a place to go see a bunch of different models, some of the newer models, all in one place. Whether you buy it from the dealership, and beautiful, or you don't, it is a place that you can go check out a bunch of different bikes and demo those bikes. I mean, Harley is pretty good about letting you demo bikes. I'm not sure about everyone else. I don't know if Honda or Indian lets you demo bikes from a dealer anymore. If you guys know, please leave that in the comment section. I don't know. I'd have a hard time spending $30,000+ if I wasn't going to demo a bike, but that is just me. All right. I think some of the other things that I like about the dealership is if you want, it's a place that you can also get parts, you can get ideas. In my opinion, if you happen to also have a relationship with a service manager and the folks in service, it is helpful. They'll give you some history on what they're seeing going on. And as a matter of fact, I went in on my 2024 Road Glide because it had a easy recall, and I was asking him at the time, I'm like, hey, is there problems with these, right? And he's like, no, it's just a recall. Here's what it is. It's simple. And I'm like, okay. So I think you get some information as well. And when you talk about service, if you don't have the skills, and I know it's pricey, you can take it to the dealership, and in general, they are going to fix it. And at least the dealership I go to, it's been a positive experience. I don't think everybody can say that, but for me, it definitely has. Now, one of the cons that you're going to find out is they don't like these older motorcycles. That's for darn sure, but we'll talk about that here in a minute. I think that, dealership has events. Dealership can hook you up with the riding clubs if you like. There's a ton of reasons this guy should not pull out on his bike with all these cars coming. Focus, BoDean, focus. But if you embrace it and you're in there for the right reason, I think dealerships, at least when you find one like I have, are awesome. And since we're in the world of always talking about bad crap, if you got a Harley Davidson dealership that you love, put it in the comments. What's the name of it? Mine is Capital Harley Davidson. Tell us where it's at and why you like them, so other people can see that. So let's go to the cons, the downsides about dealerships is, and this is just from my experience, you may get 50% of the dealerships that you like and 50% of the dealerships that you won't walk in again. And I would say I'm probably at that number. I probably, out of 6 dealerships I know, like 2 of them a lot, maybe 3. The other ones, if I was broke down on the side of the road, I probably wouldn't take my bike in there because I don't trust them. And a whole bunch of different reasons that I know that people have. And hey, life is about our experiences. When you have a bad experience, that's going to shape your belief on things. So I totally get that. Some of those dealerships, especially I think the ones that aren't ultimately truly having some sort of relationship with you, and yeah, I know they want to sell you a bike, they want to sell you parts, I get it. There's also some good people that are now friends that work at a Harley dealership, that are the same people in the dealership that they are when they're around me outside of the dealership. But there are some of those dealerships that, they're always going to come in and say, hey, how you doing? Can I help you? And you're going to go, no. And the first question is going to be, what are you riding? Well, you know why they ask you that, of course, so they can start the sales approach on why you should get a new bike and why yours isn't the right one. So there's a lot of that, and I think there's some sales tactics that I am not a fan of. I was, before I bought my 2024 or my 2021 Road Glide Ultra, I was in a dealership that honestly was just jerking me around. Just didn't have time to come over and talk about my trade, and just an overall bad experience. And I left there, and if you follow the channel, you may have heard this story. I left there, called another dealership, and I remember talking to the owner. Actually answered the phone. I said, yeah, can I talk to somebody in sales? And she's like, well, I'm kind of in sales, right? Come to find out she's the owner. And they just handled it right. Said, come on over, we'll get a couple bikes out for you. Tell us what your trade is. We'll look at it when we get here, but it's around this number. I mean, just a super good experience. I got a text the next day from that other dealership that I left, and they said to me, "Hey, we're sorry." It was a sales manager. We're sorry that you couldn't spend more time yesterday. Can we set up a time this week specifically so we can make sure to have time for you when you come in? And what I did was I just sent them a picture of my new bike in my driveway. I still like that move. So I think some of those dealerships are bad. Even though I had not had a problem with what I felt was them trying to rip me off and have work done that didn't need to be done, they're pricey. There's no doubt about that, right? I don't know, $1.25 an hour I think is ours. I think it's higher in other places. It is pricey. So if you do not work on your own motorcycle or you're having something done you can't do at a dealership, it is going to definitely cost you some money. And of course, dealers are trying to put you in a new bike, and they're trying to get you to finance it because that's where they make their money. So there's always that. And there's certain dealerships you go in that you just don't feel that trust factor. And I think that is a problem. I will tell you, some folks that are more mechanically inclined than I am will tell you that sometimes their mechanics aren't the best. They've had problems after they've left. And I guess that's going to happen occasionally, which would obviously be a concern of mine. I've been fortunate that I have not had that problem so far. It's that time of the year. Overall, I think that if you can find a way, if you're not buying a new bike, to get it outside of the dealership, in my mind, overall, I think that's a better idea. I have never bought a used bike from a dealership, ever. I've only bought new bikes from them, which would be my suggestion for you. So tell me your good experiences. Tell me your bad. Am I way off base? And by the way, did you have one bad experience at a Harley dealership and you just won't go back? Because I remember when I told the owner of the dealership I'm at now about that, she said, the hardest thing about all of that is, she goes, "You're a Harley guy, so you're probably always going to buy Harleys. But what about somebody that went into that dealership that's maybe a new Harley owner, and they didn't buy the bike because of that bad experience and they bought something else? It's not good for the brand." And that's why some of these dealers actually are not fans of each other, though mine will never talk bad about other dealerships, which is another thing that I kind of appreciate. But there is good and bad out there, just like everybody else. Share your experiences if you don't mind. Maybe that will help others, but I don't know. I think the number of dealerships, Harley dealerships at least, are dwindling. So maybe this will be a old video that we won't need to talk about in the future because there won't be any there. And if you have an older bike like this, and Harley doesn't like working on the older bikes because their guys, they say, are not trained, which I get, find a good old mechanic in town, an independent guy. I happen to have one that works on my Road King if I ever need it, and take it there, because that will probably be a better experience, because those guys that have worked on all bikes and older bikes usually are really, really strong. So I am gonna hopefully not get a deer run out of this corn on me, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful day, because we don't have any left. Hope you guys are out there riding. You all be safe. Check on a friend, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye, folks.
Like a Wolverines and lions for the wind. Mrs. BoDean by my side, we'll take Harley for a ride. I love you all like I love Michigan.